When we think about our favorite movies or the most popular movies, we immediately think about the director. To take that a step further, films are often attributed to a specific person when mentioned in conversation. Have you seen Steven Spielberg's E.T.? Wow, no, but I have seen J.J. Abrams' Super 8. Yes, directors are essential to a film, and a film typically represents the vision of the director more so than anyone else on set. But hundreds of people worked on the films we mentioned above. These projects would be impossible without an enormous group of people all executing a specific role that they trained hard for. Today, we're going to look at 4 of those roles, because while they often go unnoticed, we wouldn't have the films we love today without them. This week on Fact Bites. Before we get into it, remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications. One of the most commonly mentioned positions in the credits, but one that's often misunderstood, is the producer. A producer's actual tasks will vary from film to film, but across the board, their job is to utilize the film's budget in order to make or produce a film. They're in charge of getting all the moving parts in place, hiring a screenwriter, sending the script to the actors, making sure food gets to set on time, even handling the distribution of the film are all tasks handled or delegated by the producer or producer's team. If a producer has to manage an Avengers-sized team and workload, they're probably going to have a lot of people working directly under them doing the actual coordinating. If it's a smaller set, then the producer might even be a one-person army. In the credits, I'm sure you see a lot of other types of producers, like line producer, associate producer, executive producer. These are all people who help take on some aspect of the producer's role. A line producer is a very early hire in the process that typically manages the budget and financial aspects of the film from the very beginning. They'll also commonly be on set every day so they can have a firm grasp on what the budget is doing. An associate producer will assist another producer in putting a film together. They need strong storytelling skills because they'll be guiding some of the decisions around script writing and even helping the editor make cuts in accordance with the script. An executive producer is often just someone who helps finance the production. Sometimes they'll help guide money into picking the core initial production team, but most commonly, they're a big name that spent big money, so they're getting a big credit in the film. As we've mentioned, being a producer entails many different things from project to project. The best way to find out what a producer does is by hearing what they did on a specific project. So ask your producer pals, or watch some interviews if you're ever curious. Something that often goes overlooked or unnoticed in a film is the film's color. And I'm not talking about the color orange showing up in The Godfather to warn of impending doom. I'm talking about the film's color grade. All films determine a look in post-production, which ends up being a very important aspect of conveying the story and any emotions or feelings you want to achieve with that story. Take this shot, for example. These colors might make you feel sad and somber, and these colors might make you feel happy and secure. Regardless of how these color grades do or don't make you feel, they set a definitive tone for the movie. Color grades further encapsulate the viewer in the world of the film and further establish the film as its own universe, separate from that of the viewers. Another thing, digital media is most often filmed in a format that comes out looking very flat. But it's filmed this way because that retains the most information in the media and lets an experienced colorist bring out the best in the shot. Take this shot, for example. My dad actually called this black and white, but it's far from it. Let's pull out some of these colors. Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh yeah, that's real nice. Most of the shots you see come out of the camera looking exactly like this. And an experienced pro has to spend tons of time turning each of these shots into a beautiful painting like this. Everyone makes mistakes, even cinematographers. Oftentimes, the color in a scene will need some work to make it look normal. This is called color correction. Take this shot, for example. See how this clearly white object looks orange? Let's correct that. That's better. Now look at this shot. See how this object looks blue? Let's correct that. Much better. To wrap this up, a colorist's job is to color correct, to fix any errors in the shot and make the shot's colors look normal. And then to color grade, to apply a unique set of colors over the shot to make the film look good. All of you Instagram influencers are gonna make great colorists. On second thought, please stay out of my industry. Once the script is set in place, someone has to determine where the crew is actually going to film the scene. This typically falls to the location scout. It's their responsibility to find the location that suits the aesthetic needs of the film while also adhering to the fiscal and logistical needs of the set. Ideally, the locations are accessible and relatively near each other, though obviously that can change depending on the size of the budget. Location scouts will typically rely on recommendations and internet research to find these locations. They'll then scout that location out with their own team, most likely taking pictures and getting information on any necessary permits. They'll take all that information back to the producer and make sure it's a good fit for their film. Let's say that the script calls for an epic fight scene in a dense jungle. Someone would actually have to travel to a few jungles and find one that works best for their team, with both logistics and aesthetics in mind. If the film doesn't have the budget to fly the crew to an actual jungle, the location scout might have to find a convincing forest nearby, and maybe the set designers could hang some vines. They might even decide to use VFX in order to fix that issue, which brings me to my last role. VFX supervisors serve as the middleman between the producer or director and the actual VFX artists that are doing the animating and compositing. Most people think that VFX are only needed for the shots with huge explosions or when Shia LaBeouf is running from a transformer. But VFX supervisors will carefully examine every shot of the film with the producer and director. Oftentimes, there will be issues within a frame or a lack of scenery. Take this shot, for example. Say this is the best location we're able to lock down, but we're using this shot for a medieval scene. Well, we gotta add some ultra dramatic mountains in the background. Great. Ooh, we also probably want to take these buildings out. Perfect. Now, one last touch. Maybe some snow and a bonfire. Beautiful. See? VFX aren't just implemented for special effects. They've got an extremely practical use that you'd be silly to not take advantage of. Oftentimes, the VFX artists will also hang around on set during filming to point out possible issues or ways to shoot a certain scene to make things easier on their team during post-production. And there you have it. We love our directors, but I'd love to see them make one of their masterpieces all by themselves. I actually wouldn't, because that would be a terrible movie. Watch a movie recently and see a film role in the credits that you want to know more about? What's your film role? Let us know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.